Cambridge and in the Thames Gateway, and a lot of the students between 16 and 24 want to get kind of into this. What is the skill sets that they need? No capital investment from the government. Straightforward funding for capital funding, from the per pupil, going to go down. How are you going to kind of get through? And I think you have to think extremely creatively yourselves about, what kind of certification, what kind of diplomas, what kind would be really useful to people, in this universe that is not going to go away and is going to grow over the next 10 or 15 years. And if you get it wrong in year 1 or year 2 or year 3, be certain that in year 7 or year 8 or year 9, there'll be more demand for this, not less. That's the secular trend in my view. I'm nearly finished. I don't think we spend much time on this because I'm running out of time. I wanted to talk a little bit about how central the role is of the university and college in the knowledge economy and spatially within cities. I mean, you can see, we draw these maps at the Work Foundation of where knowledge-intensive jobs are in the country, and they're all clustered around centres of higher education. I mean, it's just there. I mean, just there it is, and that's partly because universities are providers of intellectual property, and themselves are kind of centres of creativity increasingly. Again, in the NHS, interestingly, some of the hospitals in the NHS are just putting their fingers and dipping their toes in the water about developing income streams facing the same challenge that URNHE from some things they're doing. I mean, I learned yesterday about some hospitals who become great experts in muscle treatments and how actually they could commercialise their muscle treatments to develop an income stream by going kind of first European then global with them. And I do think that there's been pushback from public sector folk in the past about that, quasi-privatisation, quasi-marketisation, etc., etc. But I think if one can preserve the notion of the public purpose at the core, be clear about the public purpose at the core, and I do think one has to make a slightly stronger statement, David, about education than you did at the beginning. I actually I do think that universities and colleges are, that they have a profound purpose in both kind of developing knowledge, passing it on, disseminating it, pushing back the frontiers back. It's one of the kind of most noble things that you can do in a civilization, and it's not just about seeing students as kind of fodder to get through the door, servicing their needs. I mean, it is, of course, but I think it needs to be located in with a big sense of what the big purpose is of education in colleges. Otherwise, I think you quickly lose the nobility of it and the inspiration that goes behind people who consecrate their lives to it. That's my thing, anyway. And as long as you preserve that, spinning out income streams of this type don't seem to me to be things that one should kind of resile from. Nearly last 2 or 3 points, and I'm stopping. You should think of yourselves as core parts of an emergent national innovation ecosystem. I put the main components of that on the up there. But it's clear that getting skill sets right and mobilisation of skills for this knowledge economy, which must lead us out of recession, and it's going to become so important to us, especially, as I said in my beginning remarks, there's going to be this big deleverage from households who are over-borrowed with mortgages and from this commercial property sector. My God, the only thing that we've got going for us is actually to innovate our way out of this. And I do think that one of the components of this universal innovation system is not just you doing what you do, but I also think, and I want to finish off on this, and I'm pushing this quite hard to both the main political parties, and I'm getting some traction, is that I think Britain has to, because it's such a volatile and risky environment out there, I mean, we've got to ask all our people for more contractual flexibility. I mean, the Work Foundation, I can't tell you what's going to be like in 3, 4, 5 years' time, and most people are in exactly the same place as us, and it's a really uncertain environment. And offering, so the deal has to be, I'm hiring you, I hope things are going to go well, I can't promise you they're going to go well. If they don't go well, I'm going to have to let you go. That's a lot of risk. But what I will do for you is I will, while you're with me, I will invest in your acquisition of skills. I will, and I'm absolutely convinced that that's going to be, the new bargain between employers and employees. And the state will help, saying, we've got to give better insurance to people as they transition from one job to another. They can't have huge dips, so we're going to have to move from a world of unemployment insurance to employment insurance. So people get much better pay, resources as they migrate between jobs, and the state's going to do much, much more to guarantee work and intervene in the labour market to ensure there is work for people to do. And we call it flexi-curity in the business. And I think, actually, they're piloting this in Holland. We're going to begin work in Britain. We're going to give individuals their own kind of e-dossier where they can see if they were to get more skills, what people like them 5 years down the road have got in terms of job, what qualifications they needed to get there. And this is where I think there's going to be an absolutely brilliant market for adult learners. For those of you in the college community, you're going to, I think, attempt Gateway, if you're working with the kind of LDA in piloting some of these kind of labour market innovations. I know the Jobs and Apprentices Network would be keen to get into it, and it's just keeping up, if you like, the kind of in the short term the throughput of students to keep the colleges together until you get to better times requires, I think, this kind of thinking on the content of the curricula, on where you're going to get students from, and where you're going to get kind of new income streams. And I think I'll start. I've talked for 5 minutes. Thank you very much.